Hey everybody, welcome back to Two Stand Up Gals. I am your co-host, Erica Spira.
And I am your other co-host, Teresa De Gaetano. Hello, everybody.
Hello, we are back this week, and we do have a Bush update for everybody. An update. Okay. She said she doesn't want to, and if she does it in the future, it will be her choice, and not because I want her to. Good enough. This is what they mean when they say relationships are about compromise. Is what my friend said. And then he sent a really nice thing saying, look, I knew who I was dating going in. You know, she's a pretty militant feminist. You know, this is literally my only complaint I've ever had. She's so good to me, kind, funny, smart, great in bed.
Oh, that's nice. That's
That I'm like, yeah, my friend is a kind person. And he's like, yeah, it's not going to be a deal breaker. I had a request, request denied. All right.
He's like, we waited in. It was an episode. We got to talk about it. It gave us some hot goss for the episode.
He did send me his personal poll that he's been taking with people.
What did they say? I'm curious what other people. I love the personal poll. What, you know, I do poll, like working at the bar. And when someone's like, I don't think it's a big deal, I'm like, well, I've polled the bar and everyone's on my side. So sorry, it is a big deal. Okay.
Well, it's also hard. Like, yeah, if you are polling people that are your people, they're going to be on your side for whatever the thing is.
If they know what's good for them. If they want that buyback this week.
Right. It's not an anonymous poll. It's right to my face. They're really going to my face say, I think you're wrong. And I side with the other side of the poll. His personal poll was 6 people said reasonable request. 3 people said, hell no. don't even try. So I was like, all right, they're very interesting.
That's interesting. Okay. That's, well, I mean, still what we kind of thought. Like, hey, that's it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I saw there's sometimes some chatter on a Reddit page about the pod. And I did see someone make a good point. I appreciate it. That was like, I feel it is a reasonable request if someone asked me because they said, number 1, it's not painful. Number 2, it's free. And I was like, oh, true. I appreciated that point on our side.
I agree. Like, I don't think it's that big of a, I mean, I'm glad that he communicated that to her because I think that's a big deal. I mean, I think that's good that they can communicate like that and say, hey, is there any way you could, but he knows her. Like, that is true. He kind of already knew what the outcome was going to be. It sounds like, and she's like, no. And it's like, okay, I respect it. I can work on that on myself. And no, that's a hard no on that one.
Yeah, gotta respect the answer. Because this is what I feel like it also touches on. I hope people don't think we're beating a dead horse here, but like, I'm curious, when you date people, are you a little like, let's say you're shopping, are you sending options to them of stuff you've bought or like are thinking of keeping? Like, what do you think about this? Do you like this? Like, do you do that game and get the outside opinion of the person you're dating? I feel like a lot of us do. Am I wrong to say that? Or is that kind of just a me thing?
No, I love to do that. It's a fashion show. Now, with the ex-boyfriend, I had that big New Year's Eve gig. And so I had gotten like a bunch of different dresses. And so I was like, what do you think about this one? What do you think about that one? And there was one he really liked. And he's like, well, the way it was like very 1950s. I did not wear it for the gig. But I wore it the next day on New Year's Day when he came over. I had it when he opened the door. I was like, hi.
Oh, that's funny.
And I did that a lot with stuff. I was a good fucking girlfriend. You know, I did wear it to my friend Tanya's 50th birthday party. And I wore that. And then I was going to wear it again to another show. And then it got a little big. And I was like, okay, girl, okay. No, but I would try Stefan and send it to him. But also I did that I like to do that. And like when we would go shopping, we would do like a fashion show. Like, oh, this is what I bought, Dad. Like something, I got this and I got that. Like in a nice way. I remember one time during COVID when I was living with them, I got these jeans, apartment 9s from Kohl's. And I didn't realize how tight they were. But my dad was like, geez, T, leave something to me imagination. And I was like, oh, okay. I guess these are tight. Like, so that was
this also the low rise era? Is this the low rise era of jeans?
No, I mean, this was pandemic. Apartment 9s for Kohl's they used to have a thick waistband, which I loved. Like
Mm,
a thick, stretchy waistband that had belt buckles, and I felt like they were very flattering on probably everybody. The low rise, no one really looks good in the low rise. You bend over, no one wants to see your thong after a certain age. Like, I mean,
it's
they do,
wild.
but not like you don't want to be a grown up. Like your thong is showing. Like, does she not feel her thong is showing?
When you see pictures, it's like, I can't believe this really was a thing, these low-rise fucking jeans. Like, you know what I've gotten back into watching? Because I kept seeing clips come up and it made me itch to watch it. Desperate Housewives. All of them are wearing these low ride jeans and stuff. And often there is like you're getting a little like almost ass crack showing and stuff. And I was like, this does feel biased, but a part of me is kind of like, man, even the moms are wearing the low rise jeans back in the day.
LEIs used to be, they were big on the low rise. That was the name of the brand. It's funny you say Desperate Housewives because yesterday, as I'm going through Times Square transferring trains to go to work, this guy had a Desperate Housewives t-shirt on. And I was like, that is a very specific t-shirt. And I was like, that's an
Oh,
old show, like Astoria Lane or whatever it was. And
Wisteria Lane, yeah. It sounds like
Wisteria Lane.
Astoria.
Okay. I
I
knew
never
that
thought
didn't.
about that. Yeah, it does sound like Astoria. That's right there. You know what though? There's a reboot. Apparently, there's a reboot of the show happening. So I
Oh,
wonder maybe he's worked on the reboot. That's why he has the T-shirt.
that's what I thought. I did ask yesterday at the bar. I was busy yesterday. It was just me until 5, and so I put on the best hits of the 1990s and 2000s. I
Oh,
mean,
love it.
they are, so we got a little Britney in there, we had some Spice Girls. So I'm at the bar with basically all dudes, and I'm like, "So, who's your favorite Spice Girl?" And so that was the
Really?
question I was polling, and the one guy was cracking me up because he goes, "Jerry Halliwell?" And I was like, "Look at Sporty's name." And then I made a
Wait.
dad joke. Jerry Halliwell was Oh, no, Jerry wasn't. She was Baby.
Oh, she is. Oh, I thought
No,
that
she
was
wasn't Baby
Ginger.
Spice. Oh, she was Ginger
Yeah,
Spice.
yeah, yeah, yeah. She's the redhead.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I said, "Oh, yeah, that's right." He
But he knew
nails
the
it.
real name. That's
He knew the
impressive.
real name.
Maybe she has an OnlyFans now. Maybe that's why he knew the.
He probably does. Well, then
Listen,
they did that tour.
you would be surprised how many people are on OnlyFans. Let me tell you, because I've had to have OnlyFans with this fucking contract, and I have come across many a famous person that I was like, "Huh, I didn't know they were doing this too." Okay,
I mean, it's a good hustle. Hey, I'm not gonna knock the hustle. That's great. Whatever
like you
you
know the
can
girl
do.
from Sopranos, she's on there. Who's with Christopher? Who's that? Or is that her real life
Adriana.
name?
It's,
Yeah,
Drea De Matteo, which I used to
that's who
get
it is.
her a little bit, depending on how much weight loss I've had. I did get Mandy Moore the other day, which was very kind, and then I also did get Blake Lively. It was a big week for the confidence, and,
Big
yeah,
week.
big week.
Anyway,
But
we derailed a little
anyways,
bit.
I did with the Sporty Spice and the Spice Girls, and then I made a bad joke where I was like, "You know who my favorite spice is? Paprika." And I was like
Oh God. Oh God, too. That's pretty bad. That's a pretty bad one.
There was he was married because he had a ring on, but he was cracking up at my jokes yesterday, and I was like, "I am killing it with some dude named Will. He is having the best time of his life." And he is like, every time I talked about something, he would like look up and was like, "Hey," like into it, and I was like, "That's right. I got a lot to say. I don't know. I had a large Starbucks coffee, and it got the job done.
There
It
you
did
go.
what it needed to do."
Fired up.
So that was the Bush update for everybody. That is
Yeah. I guess in my mind, I kind of equate it to like if you already have whatever dresses or like different shades of lipstick and you wear a shade that your man likes or whoever you're dating likes,
mhm,
are you a little more inclined to wear
of
that
course.
shade or wear that thing more? Or when you make your future purchases,
Mhm.
kind of start to go in line of those things? I think a lot of us are like a little persuaded in that way a little bit. And I don't think that's a bad thing.
Oh, not at all. I the ex-boyfriend loved me in a dress. Like, he liked
Hmm.
women in dresses. I wore a lot of dresses, and I was
Which
like,
you
"Ooh."
already naturally do. Let's add that in. Like it's not like you're
I did start
changing who
wearing
you
more.
are. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there was the one night I came out of the bathroom the one day, and I was in the red dress, and I did see his eyes do a little, "Ooh," like, he liked that one. I was like, "Ooh."
Yeah, it feels good to get the ooh. Yeah.
Ooh, oh, like the little, oh, well, she looks good in this. And so, but it was nice. And I was like, okay, like if I know someone likes a certain something, then I'm like, oh, I'm going to wear this. Or, yeah, and I'm cool with that. I don't want to go against kind of I want to do myself as many favors as possible.
Right. It's even. I mean, this even happens with friends and stuff. If you wear a color one day and so many people are like that color looks great on you. That looks great. Da da da. It
Mhm.
then makes you like search for that a little bit when you're shopping. It's natural to be like, oh, people say I look good in this color. I should get more of
Yeah.
that color. Yeah, looking good in the yellow.
Oh, the yellows. You do look great in the yellows.
I was saying you. I feel like you look great in yellow.
Oh, I do like
You
this
wear
yellow.
yellow a lot.
I this is a new one. It's the cap sleeve from the Amazon. Then my bra strap was showing, so I was like, "Oh, different one." But there was this shirt that the ex liked that I wasn't sure if I should buy it off Amazon, and then I wore it to work the one day. It was a print. It was an interesting print. I got like 6 compliments off the shirt from all different types of customers. And he was like, "I think that's my favorite shirt on you." And I was like, "Oh." And then when I was looking on Amazon, I got these tank tops like a week ago, and then they had the print in those tank tops, and I was like, "Nope, nope, I'm done with this print. I'm done with you, print."
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
so, but it
yeah.
did look cute in the tank top as well. But I was like, "Oh, okay." That's funny. And I didn't think the print was that great. And then I was like, "Oh, why is this shirt getting so I don't know why." And I think my
Mm.
boobs looked big in it randomly. It didn't show cleavage, but I think that they looked I looked a little chesty in it. So,
I remember you showing me the shirt. It was like a bright orange, and then also had like
yeah.
black and white print. It was a funky shirt. I'm not gonna lie. I would not go in your closet and go, all right, for this date, this shirt. It would not be the shirt I picked. I'll say that. But
Yeah,
that's a male eye thing. That you're like, I don't know.
I
The
don't
dudes are
know.
loving this shirt. They're loving
And
this
then when we
shirt.
went to see Godfather, I wore that shirt because I was like, "Well, I'm gonna wear the shirt he likes." And so, yeah, I was like, I don't really get the appeal of the shirt, but okay. Anywho's, yes,
Hmm.
I like to, yeah, I do that. Yeah, so what do we have some confronts or punts for the week? Some emails from our
We somewhat do. Okay, so somebody sent us an email in general, not really a confront or punch, just thoughts on tip-free restaurants. Now, before we get into this, I wanted to talk about the thing that's gone viral recently about Gen Z does not like to open bar tabs
Mhm.
and get your opinion on this and what is your personal experience with this working as a bartender? Do you feel like it's across the board? Less and less people open
Across the board.
tabs?
Across the board.
Oh.
There is a way that you can conduct yourself in a bar that I feel like Gen Z does not do. And first of all, you're not the only person in the bar. Stop flagging me down like that you're on fire. Like, let's calm down with that. Um, they don't ever carry cash. Nobody carries cash. I don't know why. And they don't even carry their credit card. Everything's on your phone to tap. Well, carry a credit card in case people don't have Apple Pay. Also, carry 20 bucks on you. Like have some sort of cash when you go out with people. And then cuz most establishments have a 2-drink minimum or a
Hmm.
$20 minimum on credit cards, so you're not opening and closing tabs all night because you do have to pay credit card fees. So I'm like, if you're going to have more than one round, just open a tab. And they're like, well, I leave my credit card then. Okay, well, don't leave your credit card then. Okay, don't do that. Like, remember that you opened a tab, or buy your friend a drink. So like we do a 2-drink minimum. So when I
Hmm.
tell everybody it's a 2-drink minimum, oh well, I'm not going to have two. Okay, well, do you have cash? No. Okay, well, you weren't prepared to come out tonight. You were not prepared. So
Or you got to leave it open before you get that
you got to
second drink or
leave it
whatever. Yeah.
open. Buy your friend a
Hmm.
drink. Like, and they all want to give me cards. And I'm like, buy your friend a drink. This is how this works. There's 3 of us going out. Like at the end, if you all want to split it, that's fine. Like, but somebody puts their card down to run a tab. Chances are Gen Z, West Village, your mom or dad are paying for it. So that's fine anyway, throwing some shade. But older people who go to bars pay cash. And cash is still king. I love a cash.
Well, of
And
course,
I
anybody
see.
getting tips loves the cash. You don't have to
Yeah, we
claim
love a
cash.
cash tip. Then people will ask me, like, "Do you prefer your tip in cash?" Yes, I do. I do. You can't track it.
Hmm.
So you
Hmm.
put it on the credit card, that gets taxed. So if you want to leave me a big fat tip, go to the ATM beforehand. I really appreciate that. That'd be great. That is something though that I notice with Gen Z, and that's a big thing. So, and they don't
The
want to
cash
start a
thing, I'd
tab.
say, is millennials as well. That's also my generation. Doesn't typically
Hmm.
have cash on hand, or at least a lot of it.
Hmm.
And I'm guilty of that too. I don't when I go to the ATM, I'm not taking out a lot of cash to be like, I gotta have cash on hand. Like, and it's such a my mom all the time will be like, how much cash do you have on you? Do you have cash on you? You need to carry more
Yep.
cash on you. Like she's paranoid that I like what's gonna happen. Um, but yeah, you are spoiled when it's like if it's never been a problem for you, then like why would you change your habits?
Hmm. I noticed that traveling though. I bring cash and I don't need it ever. Like, it would only be to, like, contribute if they took American dollars or that type of thing, but in another country, it's all tap, or it's all, like in Europe,
Mm-hmm.
it was all tap and go, but they also don't really tip, so there's
Yes.
no place to tip, so that was different too. Um, but yeah, I did see that. That was a funny video where you're like, "Yep, they don't." A lot of places are cashless too, but they don't take
Mm-hmm.
cash at all because then you have to keep the drawer, and then if you get robbed, yeah.
Well, one of the things it was saying was like Gen Z doesn't like to do it primarily because when they want to leave, they don't want to have to wait to close out their bar tab. And I'm like, well,
Yeah,
if you never leave it open, how do you know how long it takes to just close up your tab real quick? Because I think it would take longer to be getting my drinks if, we're doing multiple people, multiple cards. Like, yeah, everybody just put it on one card then, and I'd be like, this is what everybody owes me, Venmo me. Like,
mhm.
you know.
And do that. I even had a group of people that came in yesterday. 8 of them came in for lunch, but they were all adults. They were like coworkers. And the one guy was like, "Oh, put his food on mine." And I was like, "Well, it doesn't really work that way." And I know when we were in Canada, we were very spoiled that they did separate checks for almost every meal. That
Easily,
was
too.
very nice of them, but it took
Shocking.
time. That took a lot of time to walk around and do that. I
Mm-hmm.
don't have that kind of time. New York City bartenders and wait staff do not have that kind of time to figure out your check for you. So I was like, "Listen, it's just me. I will be so weeded if I had to figure out." Weeded, when you're in the weeds, it just means you're like so busy that's a saying in a bar. I'm not weeding, meaning I'm smoking weed. But I was like, I can't do 8 separate checks. So if you want me to, I can do 3 different credit cards if you want to do that. Also, Venmo is a thing. Someone put it on your card,
Yeah.
Venmo him. Also, you knew you were going to lunch, bring cash. Like, that is where you hit up the ATM fee, so it's easier that way.
Mm-hmm.
So that was an interesting article, I thought too.
It's interesting. I had a cousin that was very like, he's just like this with everything. He's just very stubborn. So like refusing to ever get a Venmo, so refusing to whatever. But then when he would owe money for stuff, he'd take forever to pay. And we'd be like,
Mhm.
so set up a fucking Venmo to Venmo our other cousin because we all chipped in for Nana's birthday and whatever the fuck, right?
Yeah.
Like, or then mail the check. Like, get on top of it. Like, whatever.
So he mails a check?
He ended up mailing a check to chip in for our grandma's birthday. It was ridiculous for like $60 because didn't bring cash to the thing, and then is very like, well, I don't have Venmo, I don't use Venmo. I'm like, nervous about Venmo and like anti and oh, what if I get hacked? It's like, okay, well, if you want to be that way, then bring cash or bring your checkbook to the fucking thing. We're all chipping in for this thing, right?
Yeah.
Crazy. So it's so funny of years and years and years. Doesn't have the Venmo. No, I don't do Venmo. I don't do that stuff. Getting married, registry, right? I'm like, oh, what's the registry? There's the honeymoon fund. I tap the honeymoon fund to contribute. That's my gift I'm going to give. It automatically brings me to a Venmo. And I'm like, look who got a fucking Venmo. Oh,
Oh, for
oh,
their wedding.
suddenly you were okay getting a Venmo account when it came
Mm,
to your wedding and getting money from everybody else. How about that? How about them apples?
interesting. Interesting. Oh,
Or I was
wow.
like, did you finally just start dating someone that was like, this is absolutely ridiculous that you don't have a Venmo? Fucking figure it out.
Yeah, you have
But
to get we have to get you in. How old is he? I'm just curious. Like,
oh, he's like 42 now.
no, he can have a Venmo. He can, like, yeah, that's
It was
not
absurd. Trust me, it was absurd.
that is absurd. That is now my
And then
dad doesn't
our
have
other
a Venmo,
cousin,
so
another our cousin was like, "Do I keep following up?" I said, "Yeah." Like he gets away with this shit all the time. That we're all like, "No, no, no, no." He's the oldest of all the cousins, not paying up for grandma's birthday dinner. Absurd, absurd. Like,
it is my friend that I went to the spa with. She was funny because then I forgot she put it on her card. We were trying to split it, certain things. And then I was like, oh, shoot, I do owe you money. I could have just given you cash because she gave me cash for the tickets. And then I ended up owing her back money. I was like, we should have just figured this out a different way.
right.
But she ended up paying me the money. And she was like, oh, shoot, I paid you by accident instead of requesting. So could I just. And it
I've
was
done
funny.
that
So I was like, let
before.
me send it back to you. But that is a nervous thing where I'm like, I want to make sure I'm putting in the right amount or I'm doing the right thing. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, it just made me laugh so hard that I was like, oh, look who decided to get a Venmo when it came to your wedding. You had no
Mm.
problem setting up that account when it was receiving.
Now, yep. But it's such an issue when you had to pay
Such an issue.
somebody. such an
Such an issue.
issue.
So
Like,
difficult. Mm-hmm.
oh Lord. Oh my
Just
goodness.
classic. Anyway, well, I don't know if you want to do this question. If you had anything else.
No, I want to hear the question. I get
Okay.
excited for the questions in case you haven't noticed. I was like, ooh, let's weigh in.
Okay, so somebody wrote in here about tip-free restaurants.
Mhm.
Thoughts? All right. Hi, gals. Teresa, I'll be going to dinner soon at a restaurant whose website says they are tip-free.
Mhm.
The only other time I've experienced a tip free restaurant, it was an upscale joint, so my dining companion and I took them at their word. They paid their staff a compensatory wage that eliminated the need for gratuity. The next time I ate there with different friends, I boldly announced that it was a tip free zone. Pay no attention to the tipping guidelines at the bottom of the check, I said. That must be a default setting of the receipt software. Imagine my surprise when I visited their website soon after and realized they had scrubbed all mention of no tipping. Apparently, tip free didn't work out for them.
Right.
Dude, that's horrifying. I'm just like, oh, I would feel so bad. This place I will be going to soon is vegan. Deliberately sourced ingredients and all that, so not cheap, but not exorbitantly pricey. Probably not a high profit margin, so it seems unlikely that they can really pay the servers well enough to make up for the lack of tips. Their spin is that in lieu of a tip, we can contribute to a fund that provides food to low income people in their neighborhood. That's great, and I will probably pitch in, but my question to you is can it really make sense for the servers to not get tips? Maybe the twist is that the staff are all the recipients of the subsidized meals? Question mark. Anyway, I'd love to hear your take on tip-free restaurants. Thanks.
That was funny. That last line made me laugh because it was like, "Oh, if you wanna donate to low income housing." Is that basically what it is? For
Low
and it's like,
income, they give food. They give food away
to
to low
your staff
income,
because you're
whatever.
not paying them. So it's going back to the no, that's what I thought right away, even though that's
Yeah.
not the case. So this is what happens. They try to do this with a few different restaurants in New York City. There was a chef. It was Mylino, I believe, was one of the names of the restaurants. I went there once, but whoever that chef is it a Jean George? I would have to Google this. I don't think it's
Oh,
Jean George.
it's somebody up there like a John George. I remember hearing about this, but yes.
I kind of want to Google this now,
They
but
were like, "Oh, this is going to be the new future. This is going to be the new future." And tip-free restaurants, and thinking it would bring like more revenue. People would be more likely to want to go there. I'm not
mhm.
sure.
Because I went to a place with it where it was, and it didn't work out. Like a lot of the places, what they do is like the employees will invest like in the company where they will get a competitive wage.
Mhm.
But guess who's paying that? You are as the customer because the prices of the
Mhm.
menu will go up incredibly because somebody has to pay for that. So somebody
Yep.
is, so that's what happens there. It's like, oh, you're not tipping, but your food's going to be more expensive. Your drink's going to be more expensive. We were actually talking about this last night at dinner. In New York's expensive. Like, what is the cap that it's going to come off for food and drink? And everyone keeps paying it, and everyone keeps paying it. And so it's like, and it's still tipping. I feel that the no tip doesn't work in New
Mhm.
York City. In Europe, I get it because they do get paid a wage, but they also, there's no incentive to hurry up. There's no
Yeah, it's very
incentive. People
different.
have a 3-hour lunch. There's no incentive for me to really give you, not that they don't give you good service, but there's no incentive for you to like at a bar hustle. Let me wait on this person, this person, this person. Like Starbucks can take their sweet ass time because there's a line. And they're going to get their coffee one way or another. But if you're working in a bar and you're like, I want to get as many drinks out as possible because I'm working for tips.
Mhm.
So the no tip, in my opinion, doesn't work. And you make way more money not doing that. So Danny Meyer, that was it. Danny Meyer, Union Square Hospitality Group, David Chang, Mama Fuko, and Amanda Cohen, Dirt Candy is what it's called. So what they do, no tipping can help close the wage gap between the front of the house and the back of the house staff. Okay, that's great. And so it can eliminate issues like disputes over tip pooling or situations where servers might feel pressured to provide exceptional service to maximize tips. Well, yeah, they should provide exceptional service to maximize tips. They should. That is what you want. You want somebody to
Mhm.
do that. And so, yeah, I think that's kind of ridiculous. I think that I also don't agree with gratuity being included automatically for small parties. Places who automatically include gratuity for 2 people. I think that they should tell you if they automatically include gratuity, but places don't. I went to a
Oh,
bar
that's
that
a
didn't.
mhm.
Regina and I went to a bar the one night. I'll tell you what it is. It's what's it called? It's 3 levels, uh, in Hell's Kitchen. It's a gay bar. It
Not
is
elephant or
no,
whatever.
it used to be social. It's not social anymore.
Mhm.
It used to be called social. It is called like it's a name of a person. It's like Pippins
I wonder if they do that because it's a high tourist area that they like get a lot of foreigners and that's why they started. Not saying it's right, but
doing that. Well, we racked up a tab. I mean, that's for sure. We were having a good time at the bar. We were at the bar.
because this is also common, I think, of a lot
Yeah.
of like nightclub places. They do
Mhm.
automatically include a gratuity.
And I'm like, "Okay, well, if you do that, like, make it I guess make it known because that's I find that to be
Mhm.
shady. Like, I'm like, "I we were gonna tip you anyway." Like, it's a bar. Like, you're not I get sometimes when people don't tip me crazy because it is a bar and
Mhm.
you're just coming up to get your drink and doing XYZ
Well, they should also make it clear.
and make it clear.
Well, this happened to us when I went to Banff in January. We went to the nice place that's like right on Lake Louise, this place for lunch to have like the beautiful view, the lake. Gorgeous. So, it's a pricier place, of course. It's very fancy, very nice. And we were a group of 8. So I don't know if it was gratuity gets added for a major group, yada, yada. So whoever took their turn of like, I'll do the card of my bill, we're doing the split wise, they do it and then they included a tip on top. Our server came back and told us that our gratuity was included, that we didn't catch it. She was like, "Do you want to readjust your tip?" She said, because it was a very expensive meal. And
Mhm,
we were like, "Oh, okay, sure. Thanks for pointing that out to us. Like, how kind of them, because they could have just skipped
mhm.
away being like, "Oh, I made an extra $150, whatever it was." So
Yeah.
then we ended up still tipping her extra because we were like, wow, she didn't have to come over here and tell us that. She could have
Mhm,
taken us for more money. That we were like, yeah, screw it, yeah, throw her $50, thanks. Like split between 8 people. We were like, what's another couple of dollars? Appreciate the honesty of that person because that's where I think
mhm.
it's trash. And I always appreciate when a bartender, anybody says, oh, by the way, your tip is included, just so you know.
Yes.
It's
The one
frustrating.
place I worked at for 8 years in New York City was a bar called the Ginger Man. It's no longer there. It's there, but it's closed down because COVID. They had a really hard time surviving during COVID. It's a beautiful bar. It'd been around since 1996. So it'd been around for a long time. So they implemented this policy that if you add gratuity to parties of 6 or more, we had a red stamp that we would stamp where
Mm-hmm.
the tip sign was 18% gratuity included, not even 20%, 18% gratuity included. Fine, it says it there. Now, if a customer chose to tip extra on top of that line, we had to get a manager to go over to approve it. That's
Wow.
bullshit. Every time I thought it was bullshit, where I was like, I'm stamping it, I'm telling them. I
Mm-hmm.
like because they had a double callback once for a gratuity and they were like, "Oh no, this is not okay. Gratuity was included." Well, you were a big group. You should honestly like
Yeah.
know that it would have been included. And so I remember customers were like, "Oh, your manager came over and just made sure that was okay." Like, do they not want you to make more money? Like it looked
Yeah, that's
bad.
weird.
I
Mm-hmm.
thought it looked bad because some people wanna leave 20%. They had a great time. Like, it was also so hard to get a customer a buyback at that place. I was like, "Oh my god." There was one dude, I loved him. His name was Nick. He was Greek. He worked around the corner. He was a great dude. He would drink like 8 Hogardens, get the bratwurst platter, have a couple of shots Patron. I had to pull teeth to get Nick a free shot of Patron after he spent $100 at lunch. I was like, "Can we
Jesus.
just not give this man like," and he could drink, he was fine. Like, but give this dude just what help the man out. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
truly. Damn.
So, yeah. But we'll have a good dinner. Like she's going out, the no tipping. And if she has a good time, like always she can always leave a little extra, you know. Um
Yeah, I understand feeling funny. Or also, I honestly the thing that's like, oh, you don't tip our servers, but if you want to leave a tip, it goes towards this other thing. I'm sorry, but I don't like that.
I
I'm
don't
like,
like that
well,
either.
I'm leaving the tip because of the work that the server did.
Yeah.
It should go to them. They were the ones doing the work. Because yeah, I don't love that.
Yeah. I don't agree with that either. I'm like, if you want to, as a company, donate some of your proceeds to that, that's okay. Like, I guess. But then if you're doing not tipping, it was also during COVID, they had this thing that it was like a COVID fee where they would add it to checks.
Mhm.
I didn't like that. I was like, don't do that. Like, I also don't want to pay for the credit card fee. Don't add that on. I get it for nail salons and like, hey, if you
Yeah.
pay with a credit card, it's going to be 3% more than it is for cash. I do get that, small businesses, but you're a big restaurant. No, I don't want to see a credit card fee on there. Most people are going to pay with credit. No one's coming to this dinner with cash. Eat it. That's your job as a corporation. Eat that fee.
Well, that's the thing. Well, yeah. Well, that's the thing that was happening recently that I was seeing on checks, and I really haven't seen it anymore. Was
Mhm.
this like extra tax thing or service thing they were adding? Now, it wasn't like at 18-20%, but
Mhm.
it was enough of a percent you notice it. And some places would have it, mapped out and explaining like, oh, we've added this so we can like have healthcare for our staff. And you're also sitting there like, well, why is that? Why is my
My
bill
job.
getting taxed more so you could give benefits? Like, give them benefits or do it the way you said it before. Like, how about you make all the items on your menu $1 more or
Yeah.
$2 more? But when you asked servers, I started asking all the servers, like, hey, now that they've been implementing this, are you getting less tips? And all of them said yes. They said, yeah, it's actually fucking us over.
Yeah.
We're making less money because people are mad about this little extra tax thing, or they think it is going to us, and it's not.
Mhm. And I wonder how many times they actually do get their credit card tips. Like if you pay an extra whatever at the coffee shop. I mean we've talked about this on here before how I feel about someone pouring me a coffee and me leaving and you asking
Yeah.
for a tip. I don't agree with that. Pay more Starbucks, pay your employees more. Like and get that off there. Like because the people who are actually working for tips are not getting them. Like and so yeah, and this is one thing when Trump was running for office the second time, I had customers write on the credit card receipt. This happened a few times, like vote Trump, not taxing on no tax on tips. And I did wonder how this was going to work because I was like, I don't know how do you not tax on them on credit card tips? So I haven't seen much of that. So I'm not sure what's going on with that. And people
Yeah,
wrote
I've
that
yet to
on
see
the
that
credit card receipt.
implemented.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
haven't seen that implemented. And so I was like, where is that? Where is that little thing there?
You're like, oh, I'd love to not have to really pay taxes on the majority of my income. That'd be great. Yeah,
That'd be great. I'd
that'd
love
be
that.
great. I would love
Just like
that.
you, Trump. Just like you. Ha
Are you
ha!
tempted to? I was gonna say, are you tempted to write back a note that's like, you know what else isn't taxed? Cash. If you just
Oh my
left me the
gosh. You know what?
fucking
Yep.
cash.
It's like this guy like wrote it and I was just like, "Whoa, okay." And like kept like and he didn't even leave. He was there like for a while at the bar and I was like, "All right, then just give me cash." Like go yeah.
Yeah. It's like, was
I
that
don't
supposed to be an
know.
encouraging note of like solidarity with me? Or it's like, I'm really pulling for you, really pulling for this new bill.
Yeah.
You're like, sure, okay. Yeah, that'd be great. That'd
You're
be
like,
great.
"Thank you."
Yeah, I think he was
Cuz
partly also saying that as like so many places are struggling to get people to work for them.
mhm.
Everyone's saying like, oh, no one wants to work or da 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 da. So I think he was thinking, oh, if this is the policy, then more people would be inclined to want to get a serving job of some kind because they'd be like, oh, my tips aren't taxed. Who the fuck knows? I don't know. I don't know the
Yeah.
intricate details, but I did hear that policy being thrown out in
Yeah,
the
and I was like,
campaign.
"What happened to that one? Where did that policy go?" Uh
You're like, that's a
that
policy I
flew
could
away
get
in the new
behind.
private plane that's coming in. Oh, Lord, it's so hard to keep up with everything. It's so hard. I just get the notifications. I'm like, I don't even know what's going on.
I know,
Um,
dude. I know.
it is.
It's brutal.
Yeah, I'll figure that one out. But what was I gonna say? I had my shows. I was supposed to have a show tonight got canceled. And then my show the other night got canceled. And this is kind of funny. I'm not gonna name names. But there was a comic I talked to, great guy. He may listen to the podcast because I think he does. He's mentioned, he's like, I listen to it. You guys are great. You guys have good
Oh,
chemistry. And
thank
I was
you.
like, thank you. And he gave me a little hot tip that whenever he works at this certain club, he likes to go later in the lineup because if the shows get canceled, then he doesn't have to come down. Like they'll tell you the show got
Mm-hmm.
canceled. They give a 15-minute window if no one is there. And it was funny because on the group text with all 6 of us the day of on Instagram, "Hey, everybody, you're booked for the show tonight. Anybody have any time restraints?" He was like, um, he wrote back, "Could I go later in the lineup?" Because he was
Mm-hmm.
first. And I said, "Well, I'll go first if nobody wants to go first." And I wanted to cancel my spot. It was on Sunday night at 9. And I was like, I really could not feel like going back out at this point. And then I get there and then I was like, it just hit me. I was like, oh, he did say he likes to go later in the lineup because of this.
Uh-huh.
And that was funny. And then the show got canceled. And I was like, damn it,
Oh,
damn it. And I was
he
like,
was right.
oh.
Fuck. I'd be
And
mad.
it's
I'm like,
also hard, like, when my buddy who lives near there was like, I was like, "Oh, I've got a show, here." And he was like, "Oh, I'll swing by." And then when the show's canceled, you just want to be like, "Well, I need to go home now." And I'm going to be better at that. And just like, "Well, I
mm-hmm.
guess I could go out for one." No, you didn't want to go out for one. You didn't even want to come to the show, T. You wanted to
Yeah.
go home. You wanted to like get a good night's sleep, start your Monday fresh, and that is not what happened. So,
Mm. I mean,
yeah,
I would be preemptive. I would tell him before, like, listen,
like
honestly, I'm
shouldn't
not in the
I
mood for like hanging.
I said, "I'm already spent going to the show. I'm already,"
Oh,
and then I was like, "I
well,
should
then you
have."
can wrap it up. Wrap it up right
I
after. Be
know.
like, all
I
right,
should
yeah,
have
I told
been
you I was spent, so I'm dipping.
Mhm.
Great to
I
see you.
should have been better about that. I should
Especially
have.
if it's a guy, I don't feel bad. Like, they weren't putting on makeup and stuff, getting ready. Like, you just had to show up here.
Yep.
You showed up. We hung out for a little bit. I'll see you later. You want to keep hanging? Hang out with somebody else. There's 8 comics on the show. Like,
How about though the show did get canceled, and then tonight's show got canceled, and I was like, all right, which is fine. But afterwards on the show on Sunday, I was kind of killing it with the other comics. I was like, joke, 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 joke. Like it was kind of funny because we did that whole thing where it's like when you go to do a comedy show and the show gets canceled or there's like 2 people there, if it's in an independently produced show, a lot of times the producers are like, "Oh, you should have been here last week. Big crowd. Big crowd." And
mm-hmm,
you're like, "Oh, great. Thanks for telling me that." Like, "Oh, it's been a while since we had one of these." And you're like, well, okay. Like, there we
uh-huh.
go." And so it was kind of funny. Lesson learned. So
It is. Comedy's harder in the warmer months, though. It's harder to get people to come to comedy shows when it's warm out.
Oh, it's easier, I think, for me to want to go do shows in the summer because, like, walking to that show, I was like, it's still semi-light out at 8:30. Like, and I'm like, oh, good, because when it's dark, you're like, I ain't going anywhere. Like, I'm just staying in. But yeah,
That's
it's
true.
nice out now. It is true. How was your comedy show? How was your week, comedy
Listen,
wise?
so this is something I forgot to update you on because I was like, did we talk about this publicly or not? I had to go look it up. So remember when we talked about doing those voiceover gigs on the radio?
Did you get in trouble?
Okay, well, so first I got a text. I was like, man, I haven't gotten a text to do the voiceover gigs in however long. I was like, oh, we manifested this. We brought it up on the show. We're like, oh my God, remember doing those? Bah, bah, bah. And I was like, yeah, I could really use the money right now. So I was like, sure, I'm in. Love to do it. So I do the gig. I get on the phone, and the other person talking, I recognize their voice, and I'm like, oh, of course we're doing the preemptive. They're setting it up, but so we're all sitting there talking, and I said it was so funny that I heard to do this gig again. I said it came up on my podcast. We just briefly talked about like, oh, when you get voiceover work, and it's somebody else from New York, you're always like, oh, it might be a comedian I know because the other person was a stand up. And I was like, I recognize your voice. What's your name? And we're both like, oh, I do. I know of you. I don't know you well. And this guy knew you well. But the host of the show, they're like, what's your podcast? I was like, oh, it's this podcast, blah, blah, blah. They're like, who's your podcast with? I was like, Teresa DeGatano. Like, I don't know if you remember her. Whatever, whatever. We do the gig. It's fine. Everybody's like, nice, fine, da da da. All of a sudden, like an hour or two later, I get a text from the guy that books me being like, hey, I just got a call from the producers of the show. They're upset about something like that you talked about doing these gigs on your pod. What was said, da da da. He's like, did you tell people like it's fake and it's this radio station and blah blah? And I was like, no. I just said, you do the voiceover work and you don't know who you get paired with and yada yada. And I was like, oh fuck. So I felt bad. I was like, oh, I'm sorry if they're like upset with you, blah blah blah. And then he calls me and they're being ridiculous. They're very like protective for some reason, like whatever. So he's like, tell me what happened. I said, I literally just mentioned we do voiceover work sometimes. Our show's talking comedy, whatever. And what's funny is I'm like, our show isn't even a huge show right now. You know?
Yeah, I'm like.
Also, do you think the audience that listens to podcasts is listening to the free radio? No. This is not a crossover problem scenario. But I just say to the guy, I'm like, look, I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry you're getting heat for this. I'm really sorry I even said anything. I said, I recognize the other comic. And I said, that's all I mentioned was like, oh, we talk about you do these gigs, blah, blah, blah. I said, I didn't say, it's fake and this. And I didn't say, because we didn't say the radio station. I was like, I didn't say the radio station. Da, da,
Because
da.
we don't know what the radio station is
I don't
most
know
of
what
the
the
time.
fuck it is. I'm like,
I
I don't know.
Yeah.
You're getting me on the phone for fucking $50. I'm just doing this $50 phone gig. I picked it up. I don't know. And so he says, can you text back to me like that exact explanation so I could screenshot it and send it to them? He's like, they're like little divas about their show and their setup and da-da-da. And it was funny because I was like, well, it's funny because today was like very disorganized where like I'd be talking, saying something and the guy kept interjecting and interrupting me. Not the other voiceover guy, the host of the show. He'd be like, no, we want it to be like, we want it to be a little more. And I was like, the scenario they gave me did not make enough sense that they're like, okay, be upset. And then they're like, no, well, it was like a guy was calling me being like, oh, they're going to send you these anonymous flowers. That like I wasn't a cheater, but they wanted me to flirt being like, well, but who's this anonymous person if it's not my boy? Like, oh, and like make up that I like mention a guy and this and that. So I'm like, I am a cheater or I'm not a cheater. It was very unclear that it was like everything I said, they kept jumping in and like jump it. And I was like, okay, I've never had to do it for that long where I was like, oh, this is bad. So, but after that interaction, I was like, oh man, well, looks like I won't be getting any of the voiceover work for the future. I guess I fucked it up. I fucked it up that I was just friendly and chatting and I pissed somebody off. I was like, okay, big deal.
I didn't hear anything. No one reached out to me.
Oh, well, they wouldn't hit you up now. But I was like, I'm sorry for if the future you never get contacted again. But what's funny is when it came up too, part of the reason they let go of the other guy is they were like, wait, when's the last time you did this show? And he had done it like a few months ago. And they were like, oh, we need to wait like longer in between times. And then they got to me, like, when's the last time you did the show? I was like 3 years ago. I'm like, I can't remember the last time I did this show. I was like, so I know I'm in the clear. And I was like, and it's my last one. Thanks. It's like, oh, whoops. My bad.
How did they find out that we were talking about it? Like,
I mentioned it, but I very vaguely. I just was like, oh, this came up on my pod, how you do these voiceover gigs and you probably are going to get paired with another comic you know. So I was like, what's your name? Oh, I do know you. That's so funny, blah, blah, blah. And everyone's being like real friendly to me. No one seemed offended when I said that. And then the guy that booked me on the back end got this like, someone's out there bashing the show. And I was like, okay, that's not at all what happened, but everybody can calm down.
Yeah, that's okay. We're going to have to figure out. You're going to tell me off camera who the other comic was. Oh, that's funny. Oh, all in the name of comedy. Oh, boy.
Yeah, but I was just like, sorry.
Mm-hmm. You're like, I'm sorry. We were just talking about different things we do on the radio. And it's great stories. I mean, it's cool. Like, but yeah, no. Okay. Well, mom's the word on that one. We'll see if I get booked again. I did get the check for the last one, so the check is cleared.
There you go.
But
I just got mine in the mail. That reminded me. I was like, oh, just got it.
I haven't been paid from one comedy club that owes me $175. So got to send for three gigs. So got to send them another message and be like, hey, I started these gigs at the end of April. It's beginning of June. You do owe me for these 3 gigs. So
yeah, follow up.
Fun. I followed up a few times already. So fun.
The fun of comedy. But I laughed. I was like, well, got the gig in, lost the gig. Well, sorry.
Got the gig, lost the gig. One day in the life of a stand-up comic.
Or what was it last week? In and out, nobody got hurt. I was like, in and out, somebody got hurt. Sorry.
No, you had your bumper sticker. No, when you got mad at that woman where you were like, I'm from New York. What do you want from me? What was it?
Oh,
the tagline? Oh, that was so
someone
funny.
Commented on the Patreon that we should make that merch. I'm an East Coast bitch. What about it?
I'm an East Coast bitch. What about it? I mean, that is so funny to me. That cracks me up. Well, I'm an East Coast bitch, and I'm gonna be about it. You gotta go walk some dogs, Erica. Erica Spetta.
I got a dog to go walk. Picking up a new gig. Anyway,
I love it. Get those steps in. I got to put away some laundry. This is an exciting nights for us, everybody. My comedy show got canceled. I'm not going on a date with a guy. I'm just here in my Amazon tea and in a bun. So,
yeah. Well, that's it for this episode this week. So if you want to stay tuned, there's a Patreon preview coming up. If you want to check that out because you're thinking of joining, because you should join. We have a lot of fun on the Patreon as well. Patreon.com/2standupgals. But we'll talk to you guys next week.
Good night, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
So he was messaging me and I was like, just go meet him. Like, just get in a cab. It's on the way home. He was staying in like Hell's Kitchen-esque Times Square. I was like, just go. So I met up with him. I didn't meet up with him for long, but once again, I was getting very much like a kind of a gay vibe, like a feminine, like type vibe from him. And I was just like, yeah, I'm not attracted to him in that way. I'm just not.
Yeah, that's
Like,
fair.
I also outweigh him by quite a bit. And I'm not I like a bigger dude. Like, I just felt like I was like, I'm not like necessarily physically attracted. Not that he's a bad looking guy. He's not. Then I'm sitting across from him at the table. And he was trying to like sell himself, I guess, to me. Like, I don't know why you
What?
don't want this. And he showed me a picture of his dick on his phone.
Stop.
No, not.
Shut up. If you'd like to hear the rest of this episode and get extra episodes every week, join the Patreon, which is patreon.com/2standupgals. Or you can also now join from the Apple Podcast app, right from your phone. You'll also get ad-free episodes of the public podcast, in addition to the extra episodes every week. So to join, go to patreon.com/2standupgals.